What's up, fam? It's your favorite retiree on social media. Welcome to my channel. I'm the Young and Free Retiree. Now, before we jump into today's video regarding the housing crisis, I need y'all to hit that like and subscribe button for your boy. And as a token of my appreciation, here's a photo of me on a cruise last Halloween. You're welcome. Now that we got that out of the way, y'all, there is a serious housing market crisis down in good old Florida. You know, that state where everyone comes to retire at, where everyone comes to vacation to, where the sun is always shining and you're about one hurricane away from having a mental breakdown and regretting your decision to ever live in Florida. Yeah, that beautiful state. Now, if you recall, back in 2021, many people from New York, Cali, and other states all relocated here to Florida, myself included. During that time, y'all, the housing market was insane and overpriced. People were paying upwards of 20, 50K, 100K, and plus over asking price. And scams were rampant all throughout the rental market. Y'all, it was so competitive that I didn't find a place to rent until I was a few days from moving down here to Florida. And it was only by the grace of God that I found a rental about 3 days before I left Vegas. My backup plan was to sleep in my car if I couldn't find a rental. No joke. Your boy was locked in to retiring down here in Florida. And the main reason why I was so locked into moving down here in Florida was because Florida offers so many benefits to veterans, which I am. And the main thing is because of that sweet no state income tax. Yes. So yeah, I was absolutely locked in. Now, today in 2025, the housing market looks drastically different than what it did back in 2021 during the Great Florida Migration. Now, in 2025, we have the Great Florida Exodus. There are vacant homes and for sale signs scattered throughout Florida everywhere. And it's mainly due to ballooning HOA fees, home insurance costs, and rising property taxes. Apps like Zillow and Homes.com are literally littered with homes for sale. Just pull it up on your phone. Your phone looks like it has a measles. There's so many little red dots on that thing when you pull it up. Trust me. And this brings me to the point of today's video that we're about to jump into. There is a looming housing market crash that is starting to severely impact not only all Floridians, but especially retirees. According to an article that was published this year on the 8th of April, Florida ranks number 2 on the list of states with the highest population of retirees. Over 21% of Florida's population is of retirement age. So yes, this severely impacts retirees solely because they rely on a static income. So let's jump into today's video.
Florida homeowners have been blindsided by something terrible that's happening in Florida. We're now seeing one of the biggest exoduses out of Florida, unlike anything that we've seen since 2008 housing crash. It's official. The Florida housing market is on the verge of a devastating decline. According to new data from the U.S. Census Bureau, Florida is losing people due to move-outs, with counties like Miami, Palm Beach, and Broward all losing people in 2024. And the reason for this all points to Florida's high cost of ownership, which is making many retirees pack up, and they're fleeing and going to other states. And if you're someone who doesn't really believe this is actually happening, here's the data from the U.S. Census Bureau. The counties in Florida that lost the most people due to domestic migration outflows: Miami-Dade, Broward, Orange, Hillsborough, Palm Beach, Pinellas, Seminole, Lee, and Collier. And domestic migration losses are now creating a big issue in Florida's housing market in 2025. Inventory is skyrocketing, home prices are dropping, and this is resulting in many homeowners who bought near the peak of the bubble. They're now losing money on their house. With a massive inventory spike and property not selling in Florida housing market, it's now in full reverse mode. Florida homebuyers have been blindsided by the tremendous cost of owning, and many Florida residents are experiencing all 5 extreme levels of unaffordability. It started out as a small ripple in the water, but now it's happening everywhere in the state of Florida. You want to take a guess? How many properties do you think are for sale between Lee and Collier counties? Go ahead, take a guess. For sale signs are plentiful. There's 12,000 homes for sale, and that's single family homes only. Doesn't include condos or townhouses. Now, what you have to understand is this is a small county. So right now, it's the highest level of inventory in Southwest Florida ever. And this scenario is playing about all across Florida. It's happening in Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, Jacksonville, Sarasota, Ocala, Port St. Lucie, St. Petersburg, Lakeland, and even south of Orlando are being hit with a wave of housing inventory. It's happening. And inventory levels are skyrocketing, and these areas have a high likelihood of prices plunging even further. So can you guys tell me, what do you think is going to happen? Now, we all know that people moved to Florida during the pandemic, but it's the locals who are actually telling me that slowing sales, recent hurricanes, along with skyrocketing HOA fees, it's painful. And many homeowners have told me that it doesn't matter if it's in an HOA community or a non-HOA neighborhood. Insurance premiums are rising up as much as 72% in the last 5 years. And now, rising property taxes is making it even worse. This is a 1-2.
So this is where it kind of pays if you're a veteran that's at 100% disability, because in Florida, you don't have to worry about property taxes. But to the average person, these increases, I can only imagine. Like, I'm hearing some of my neighbors and some other people throughout the that I interact with, and even that I meet on cruises, these people are telling me that their property taxes have gone up like almost 200%, as well as some of their the homeowners insurance is just skyrocketing, especially after Milton. After last year, we had Milton, and I think, what was it, Helene? And the homeowner insurance just went through the roof for some of these people. And thankfully, I'm a renter. I did try to purchase a home, but thankfully, that was God protecting me, because I'm sure I would have been in the situation that many Florida residents are in right now when it comes to these exorbitant increase in fees and costs, especially with HOA. Don't even get me started about HOA.
Punch that's been crushing many Florida retiree plans. Some retired people have been cut short due to unsustainable living costs, and they found out the hard way. Now, many have told me that they've been burning through their nest egg and squandered their retirement savings. Now, this fact is impacting many who were considering moving to Florida, and some have delayed and completely changed their minds about Florida. And this is driving prices even further down all across Florida. But some people in Florida are in denial, and they deny that there's a housing downturn that's actually playing out in Florida. So what do you think? Is it happening or is it not happening? I can tell you one thing, that Mr. and Mrs. Moneybags are still telling you, all the people are moving down here. You gotta move to Florida and you gotta buy that house. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. And some people are still retiring to Florida. That's a fact. But why is it that the data shows that people are moving out? But the harsh reality and the truth comes directly from thousands and thousands of people who have commented here on my channel in previous videos. Now, here's just a few of the comments. You can read them for yourself. I leave Florida tomorrow. As a senior, I can no longer afford to live here. Corporations are buying up properties and redeveloping while dumping seniors on the street. Florida has really done a 180 when it comes to a retirement state. I hear you. How about this one? I've lived in Florida since 1980, and I loved it up until about 10 years ago. The decrease in quality of life, plus the massive increase in the cost of living with practically zero increase in pay, has made this place unlivable, except for the really rich. Great job telling the truth on this video, and so many people move here with no clue as to how unsustainable it has become. So if you want to see more of this, and you haven't done so already, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. It lets me know if you're actually watching these videos. Now look, many home buyers in Florida have been blindsided by the tremendous cost to own. They just didn't know. These hidden costs have bankrupted some homeowners, and there's no way to just pull money right off trees and pay for all these higher expenses. And in retirement, most people just don't want to take on that much risk and the continued unknown future costs. And now we're seeing South Carolina, Georgia, and even Tennessee among the top receiving states of former Floridians. But we get to a reason for that in a minute. Now, many people desire to buy a cheap house in Florida as an investment or a place to retire, but they don't actually understand what's happening here. If you buy a brand new home in Florida and everybody around you has to sell, prices don't go up. You know, it might seem attractive just to jump in, but it's like catching a falling knife because the new owners, they're still paying these skyrocketing holding costs. And home insurance crisis in Florida, it's real. The increased property tax values for new homeowners, it's real. And all the other additional expenses, that stuff just does not go away. So bring your checkbook. New Florida homeowners are still paying these skyrocketing holding costs, even in brand new homes. And high inventory is crushing many who want to leave Florida. So it has a domino effect. Florida's now seeing shadow homes. So what's a shadow home? It's partially built, it went under contract, and either the buyers pulled out or the builders ran out of money. And to compound the issue, investors are now bailing out of the market because they've had enough.
And y'all, you see these shadow homes so like scattered everywhere that you go. I drive from my house to MacDill Air Force Base usually once a week. And during that route, where it takes me 45 minutes to get there, 45 minutes to an hour, I pass over roughly, I would say, about 20 to 30 homes that are just shadow homes. And you see them as you're driving through the neighborhoods. You'll see a shadow home where, you know, the builders, they had plans on establishing these communities throughout Florida and throughout the local area in Tampa here. And they just become ghost towns. So what he's saying is so true, and it's obvious that you see this on a constant basis when you're driving around, especially in the local area here.
Hard to turn a profit when the cost of ownership and the increases have gone up so much. It's the compound effect here, guys. The small, seemingly insignificant things happening on a daily basis, all at the same time. Many people are reversing their Florida dreams due to hurricanes and the hassle of evacuating over and over and over again. It gets old. And many of these hurricane-damaged homes, once they get fixed, even more houses will be coming to the market.
The facts. Florida accounts for 79% of all insurance lawsuits filed. Yet the rest of the entire United States makes up only the other 21%. Why is this? Well, last year alone, Florida's hurricane season, which brought extensive damage throughout the entire state of Florida, not just coastal Florida, all of Florida.
The silent killer. Now, many people don't hear about it or don't fully understand how bad it has gotten in Florida. Put it in the comments below if you've been affected by any of these insurance increases in Florida. In fact, not only has property insurance gone up 50, 60, 70%, some people as much as 72% in the last 5 years. But the big issue is homeowners can't even get insurance. So if you're retired and you're on fixed income, it's a struggle. Even cities that weren't impacted by a hurricane at all, and they're not located close to the coast, yet they're now being affected in areas where builders went nuts building during the pandemic. And builders have pulled hundreds of thousands of permits. And this is happening in a reduced demand market. As beautiful as it is, it's the perfect storm for Florida. A, the massive shift in the number of people moving out of Florida. B, along with big investors selling. And C, out of control homeowners insurance increases year after year after year. In Florida, many of the older homes are completely uninsurable. And we're not talking about just the roof, but the windows and the hurricane protection retrofits. But now some properties are finding out that years ago it was not in a flood zone, but today, with all the surrounding construction, diverting rain runoff, and raising land level in surrounding areas, some of these properties that were built just 15 or 20 years ago are being rezoned into flood zones. Now, something you need to consider, when a house gets wet, mold could grow. So right now, it could happen in the home that you own or the home that you're about to purchase. And this is the stuff that can make you sick. Some people got a deal and they bought a cheap house, then they found out the hard way. So make sure you're smart. Don't buy it once and then pay for it twice. It's your life. Let's talk about obsolete. Now, in Florida, older homes are uninsurable. And it's not just the roof, the windows, and the hurricane protection retrofit. The whole neighborhood is being rezoned. And properties have to be built up even higher now because they're in a flood zone. Now, the reason I know this stuff is happening and it's serious is because I get phone calls every single day. And some people are literally crying, and others are just very frustrated. But people who are calling me are moving out of Miami-Dade, Broward, Orange, Hillsborough, Palm Beach, Pinellas, Seminole, Lee, and Collier counties. Sure, some people comment on my videos and they say, oh, the reason he hates Florida so much is because he's a real estate broker in South Carolina. All the information I share on these videos, where do you think it comes from? It comes directly from the people who have moved out of Florida, and there's another roof being replaced. I don't care what you think. I'm educating the public as to what's really happening. And the data, it proves this as well. Now, it doesn't matter to me if we ever cross paths. I'm just trying to be helpful. Why? Because it's happening. You should hear the stories that I hear from people who are fleeing Florida. They tell me they had to leave and they were looking for alternative places. And I agree, Florida is a great place to visit. But with so many people wanting to move, something is definitely happening in Florida.
So guys, after watching that video, let me know what y'all think. Do you know anyone that lives in Florida? Or were you one of the ones that were contemplating or considering moving to Florida during the Great Migration? Let me know. Leave a comment. And also tell me, what do you think that should happen to try to mitigate some of these things from happening? Like, that affects so much of our retirement community and just our average everyday people, especially down in Florida, where, granted, it's a beautiful state. Many people love to come, and I'm sure it's high in tourism. But there should be something to protect the people from the increased home insurance, the property taxes, and especially those HOA fees. I'm so thankful that I did not get into home ownership down here, because like I said, these HOAs, it's insane. Sometimes, like, I live in a community, and the rumors I hear that the fees I hear that people are paying, they seem a bit high to me. And maybe maybe it's just me. But at the same time, though, you'll see things that go unfixed throughout the community for quite some time. Like, sometimes the gate that is at the front of our community sometimes doesn't work. Like yesterday, I think the power went out. Granted, that's something that's uncontrollable, but it was just a lot of people locked into a community. And it just so happens that one of the residents went out and somehow figured out how to get the gate open. But it's oftentimes that gate sometimes it doesn't even work, it doesn't operate.
Go figure. The gate is 2/3 open. Beep. Oh, what's gonna happen? Is it gonna hit my car again? Is it gonna stay? Oh, look at that. Now I have to back up again.
We have maybe 6 to 8 lights throughout the entire community, street lights, and I think only 2 works. And like I said, I've been living here for 3 to 4 years, so I can only imagine like how irate the people in this community are with our HOA people, whoever runs their management. I don't get into that because, once again, I'm not a homeowner, and I don't want to get into that. So I'll leave that to them. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Y'all take care, stay blessed. And remember, always put God first and live below your means now, so later in life you can live beyond your means. Love y'all. I'm out.